there it is. Back so soon.
Yeah.
It's the second balcony. The only two guys in the Blackhawks world that haven't been sick the last few days.
When you're supposed to play the Oilers, but you got a leaky boiler.
Boy. I was getting all these via text message last night. I knew we weren't getting long into the show before we got into those. But before we get into more diarrhea jokes, there's going to be a few, I'm sure. We'll get the official business out of the way. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button here on YouTube. Share with all your friends. Follow on all your podcasts platforms. Give us those 5-star reviews. Tell your friends, whatever you do to help spread the word for the second balcony. It's Greg and Frank. We're here only 4 days after our last episode. That's got to be the record for the quickest turnaround.
Yeah, but 3 games.
Yep, that's going to be a lot of that until the Olympic break. Pretty much playing every other day for the next couple weeks, which I'm okay with that. I love being busy, and then we're going to sit around for 3 weeks and do nothing. So I don't know about you. I'm not that excited about the Olympic tournament.
You know, it's on a crummy sheet of ice. They didn't build it to spec. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, pretty on brand for the NHL.
Yeah, well, this is also IIHF was involved.
Yeah, well, another well-run organization.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know how FIFA didn't get involved too, as long as we're going for the total clusterfuck.
Yeah, well, there's still 3 weeks to go. They might jump in.
But yeah, I've got a feeling you're gonna see a few guys beg off at some point. On one hand, yeah, it's an honor to play, and these guys want to play in the Olympics. They want to play for their country, and Milan is a beautiful city. But you're sitting in a clubhouse with a bunch of guys booking trips to Cancun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm this way every time this comes around. I was this way for the Four Nations last year, where I was just kind of meh the whole time. And once the game started, I got into it, of course. I mean, it's still best on best, minus the Russians. They'd be a lot of fun to have in this tournament. I understand why. I get it. I agree with it. But at some point, it'd be nice to get those guys back in the international competition, junior level and beyond. But just not. I hate shutting down a season for almost a month to do this. I hate it. Yeah. It to me, it's silly. I don't know. I would rather make this. I like the World Cup idea, but I know they're planning on doing that in season 2. I'd rather do that either before the season, or if you want the Olympic, ice hockey to be an Olympic sport, do it in the Summer Olympics. I'd watch hockey in July.
Right. And that would also you'd get a better brand of hockey because the teams would have more time to practice together. And
yeah,
then you can do the type of things that like Team Canada and Team US are trying to do, which is have a first line, second line, third line, instead of just, get your best players, throw them out there. They're really, really good players. They'll figure it out. You could actually try to put together cohesive lines, like I think it was last episode I mentioned the movie Miracle, where in that movie, Kurt Russell / Herb Brooks says early in the movie, the Russians could beat all-stars because all-stars don't play as a team. But, in this case, everybody's setting an all-star team. So they're on that equal footing. But if you were able to give all these teams a chance to, skate together and kind of get a handle on each other, simple things like, when you're a defenseman, you want to know you get to know where your partner is going to be. You get to know what your partner is going to do. You get that feel for it. And, when you're only going to skate together for a few days before the Olympics starts, you're not going to get that.
Yeah. Well, one thing to monitor with the Olympic, I don't know if you saw it last night, but Braden Point injured as the Tampa Bay Lightning won their 10th game in a row. There looks like we might have the 7th straight Stanley Cup final being played in the state of Florida this year. But because the Lightning, they are seriously good team right now. They lose Braden Point, got injured while scoring a power play goal. I think it was Cam York of the Flyers kind of fell on him and his leg, his knee went underneath. It didn't look good, put no weight on the leg. There's been no update yet. But that could be Connor Bedard's in if Braden Point can't go. I know we had talked when Tom Wilson got hurt, but you're not going to replace Tom Wilson with Connor Bedard. You'd replace Tom Wilson with a Sam Bennett. You kind of want a guy that does the same thing. Yeah. Braden Point, shifty, undersized goal scorer. I know a guy like that here in Chicago that could easily fill that role.
Yep. And don't think the NHL isn't thinking about all the '98 Olympic sweaters they can sell.
Oh yeah, I mean they'll sell a ton of them. They'll sell a ton of them here in Chicago. It's another jersey they could put in the Madhouse store and sell out of instantly. So we'll see how that goes. Connor Bedard came back, and then he went away again.
Yep.
It's been a crazy couple of games since the last time we talked with a stomach flu bug ravishing the Blackhawks locker room these days.
Yeah, fortunately, the word of the stomach virus has come through the official channels. It hasn't been a leak.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's I know what you did there.
They dribble more than the Bulls these days.
But yeah, I'm just gonna let you keep going. I'm not even gonna acknowledge these jokes.
Greg, you're such a professional. I admire that.
I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear it. I'll let you be you, and I'll
laughing at my own jokes.
Yeah. Friday was strange because Friday was the Caps game, and we got the morning skate, and there was only Spencer Knight on the ice. The Blackhawks legend Scott Foster was there. We were all so concerned that, okay, Connor Bedard's here, he's skating, he's taking rushes, that all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait a minute. Ilya Mikheyev's not here. Oh, wait a minute. Nick Foligno's not here. Oh, Louis Crevier is not here. Wait, what's going on? And then we're like, oh, Jeff Blashill's not even here. We had to talk to Mike Vellucci, who I enjoy talking to, but he had to do the media, and it was kind of like, all right, what's going on? And then, it didn't sound too serious, but then Drew Comezzo and Kevin Korchinski get called up, and you're like, okay, some guys aren't going to be able to go. And then they get on the ice for warm-ups, and Drew Comezzo leads the team on the ice. And we're like, okay, what's going on? And then another goalie comes out wearing number 40. And we're all thinking oh, it's Arvid Soderblom. Okay, but he wasn't at morning skate, and Spencer Knight was. But then I looked at the guy wearing number 40, and I was like, that's not Arvid Soderblom unless Arvid Soderblom was left in the dryer too long, because he's a lot smaller. And that was not a great game against the Caps. Drew Comezzo put in a tough situation. From what Blashill said, that it was literally a few minutes before the game, Comezzo found out he was starting. He got called up just to come and back up, be there for an emergency, and there was an emergency.
But Comezzo and Korchinski both missed practice.
Right. They had morning skate that morning with the Ice Hogs, prepping for the Chicago Wolves, and then they got in the car, hopefully the same car to save gas money, drove to Rockford, and it wasn't really good for either one of them, but they were in a tough situation. But apparently Spencer Knight felt fine, left practice, came back to the rink. And then about 20 minutes before they were talking he said he wasn't feeling great. And Jeff Blashill said, while we were sitting there talking to him, seeing if he could go, he got up and ran to the bathroom to violently throw up. And we knew what our answer was. And we turned to Drew and said, guess what, kid? you're in. And
yeah, watch out for number 8.
Yeah, it was even because usually like early in the game they'll show like they're in the first stoppage. They'll show like a little photo montage of all the Blackhawks walking in, so you could see what they were wearing, and they actually showed Spencer Knight on that montage as the game's already started, and he's not nowhere to be found. So that was a weird night. And the Blackhawks lost 5-1. They didn't play good.
Korchinski looked so lost out there.
It was not good.
No, I mean, I'll cut him some slack for the game because, again, he didn't even get a practice in with these guys, but he had no idea where anybody was or what was going on all night. And he was just a step behind in that game. And, you got to cut him a little bit of slack because it's, he was put into a shit situation, but
literally.
Yeah, right.
You're welcome. I can play this game too.
Okay. But, he was just lost out there. He was completely in over his head. He did play a better game the following night.
Yeah. I mean, Korchinski had it rough. There was the Connor McMichael half breakaway goal where he split Korchinski and Grizzly. Korchinski was too slow to turn around. And by the time he did, he was gone, and then it kind of just coasted the rest of the way.
Yeah,
and there was the goal.
I felt like Korchinski was still playing at AHL speed.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it. Then there was the goal where he decided to lay on top of Drew Comezzo, which is not a good idea. I have never played the position at any level, but I would like to think laying on top of your goalie is not coached as a defensive strategy. But as you said, he got better Saturday night, as did Drew Comezzo. Kid goes down to Nashville playing in his second straight night, which isn't unusual for him at the AHL level. There's a lot of time, like over the past couple seasons, goalies will play on back-to-back nights just because they have to. So that wasn't too unusual, but you got nervous because they called up Stanislav Brezhnoy in the morning, and you're like, uh-oh. Because both Spencer Knight and Arvid Soderblom weren't well enough to make the trip, but I mean, Drew Comezzo was the difference in that game. That and the Blackhawks power play. I felt so good for him. There was a cool moment Friday night when he was getting the start. During the national anthem, they showed Drew Comezzo on the Jumbotron while the anthem was playing, and he was just taking it in. He had like a half smile on his face, and he was just looking around and just like you could tell he was enjoying the moment. I was like, okay, he doesn't look nervous.
Yeah,
this
not how he thought his day was going.
Right, but he was like standing there with a look on his face, like this is so awesome. I can't wait to do this all the time. So I was thinking, okay, this doesn't look too big for him. He looks fine. And then the game started and the first shot, and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
But he didn't get a lot of help in front of him. But again, Saturday he was excellent, really good for him. And the Hawks steal that win down in Nashville. I would say that and the Vegas game from last week are probably the two most impressive wins on the season because they were both second of back-to-backs, which they've been bad at all season. Now they've won their last two. The Vegas game, they just didn't really have a whole lot going on, but they, locked down and won. In this game, another makeshift lineup and, young goalie, but you find a way to win. So that was super impressive.
And the other thing too was Connor Bedard had his feet under him. He was just so good in that Nashville game.
That assist on the Bertuzzi goal was ridiculous. That's a play he doesn't make in his first 2 years. Just his skating has gotten so much better and his awareness.
I know the edge work on that. The edge work on his skating on that play was amazing.
Yeah, he doesn't make that play last year.
And I think he kind of enjoyed his second assist because I think he likes being out there with just a goal scorer.
Yeah. Because he doesn't have to do it all.
Yeah. So, he knows if he gets the puck to Lardis is going to shoot. Lardis is not going to think. Lardis is not going to second guess. He's just going to fire.
Yeah. And he did, and he scored. Lardis has played well. Oliver Moore's played well. It's I like what we're seeing from these young kids. And the good news is the Blackhawks could have gone out there and lost 7-0 in Nashville, and nobody would have paid any attention because Saturday night was one of the most ridiculous nights in Chicago sports history.
Yeah,
with the Bears doing what the Bears do, and scoring 25 points in the fourth quarter to beat the Packers. The Cubs go sign Alec Bregman to a deal that I didn't think was ever going to happen, and then even the Bulls won a game, which I know doesn't happen very often. So to have all those things happen within like an hour of each other was pretty crazy.
But yeah, Oliver Moore is playing so much better. He's another guy. Again, he's getting his feet under him a little bit. He's winning faceoffs.
Yeah. Well, last night in the Edmonton game, he had 3 faceoffs against Connor McDavid in the final 2 minutes of the game, in like within a few moments of each other, and won all 3 of them.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job in the circle, and the fact that Bedard's been improving. All of a sudden, for a team that's going to have to rely on possession, you need guys who can win faceoffs, and now the Blackhawks are starting to get that up and down the lineup.
Yeah,
when you go back to the glory days, you had Taves on the first line, Kruger on the second line, on the fourth line, rather. Pardon me, but those middle 2 were, Dave Bolland. I love Dave Bolland. Dave Bolland's one of my all-timers. Dave Bolland was not a face-off guy.
No.
And, the last cup, they had Antoine Vermette, who was just deadly in the face-off circle. He was so good.
Yeah, you need those guys for those big draws late in close games.
Yeah, you can't have one guy take them all.
No. Bedard's gotten better this year.
Oh yeah, he's over 50%.
Nazar's been pretty good. As you mentioned, Moore's been good. Ryan Green's been excellent at the faceoff dot. So definitely some encouragement there.
Jason Dickinson, he's what you expect him to be. He's good because he's always been good.
Yeah. But as far as the future goes, they're looking pretty good at the faceoff dot. And a lot of that has to do with having Michael Pekka out there every day working with these guys. His influence on this team has been evident, not just with faceoffs, but just defensive play from the forwards. It's been evident the influence he's had on this team. And I wonder how long he's going to be behind the Blackhawks bench before somebody else comes calling and says, "Hey, you've turned Connor Bedard into a face-off winning 2-way player. You need to coach our team."
Yeah, I would expect that. I would expect that if Lindy Ruff isn't back next year, that their first call is going to be to Michael Pekka.
Could be. He did walk out of the coach's room yesterday morning before. With all the media out in the hallway before Blashill came out, sporting a Buffalo Bills hoodie. So yeah, he would, moving back there would not be difficult for him, I don't think.
Yeah, and they do love their Sabres legends up there, and he is a legitimate one.
Yeah, he was pretty damn good. Speaking of legends, did you get to see any of the Sergei Fedorov jersey retirement in Detroit last night?
I wanted to talk about that because, as much as it kills you to see good things happen to the Red Wings, they just did a top-notch job. Everybody coming out wearing the Fedorov skates, having the whole Russian vibe there.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things was, on one hand, you're like, yeah, Detroit sucks. But man, when those guys were on the ice, that was just like such beautiful hockey. Those 5 were so good together.
Yeah, I mean, Fedorov is one of those guys that, during their heyday, I hated everything Detroit, and I hated him, but I was like, damn, I wish the Hawks had him. Like, he was such a special player. And Jay and I talked about him a little bit last night on the CHGO post-game show, where like we were asked, what's the modern day equivalent to Sergei Fedorov? And it's like, I don't think there is one.
There isn't one.
He was the fastest guy in the league at a time when there wasn't a ton of really fast guys. And all the speedsters were all from Russia. Him and Pavel Bure and Alexander Mogilny, they were the first really like elite speedsters. But not only he wasn't just
Mike Gartner was out there.
Yeah,
there were some guys, but yeah, and Fedorov just at both ends of the ice.
That was the thing. He wasn't just Oliver Moore out there with elite speed. He was a 50 goal scorer and a 2-time Selke trophy winner. Like when later in his career, the Columbus Blue Jackets actually played him as a defenseman at times.
Yeah,
that's how good defensively he was. He was a game-changing player. Like you see guys kind of like him. Like I think the best analogy we came up with last night was, imagine Marian Hossa with Oliver Moore's speed.
Yeah,
I know Hossa was a pretty speedy player in his younger days, but
he wasn't a burner.
No, and he definitely wasn't that when he got to the Blackhawks. But imagine Blackhawks era Marian Hossa two-way game, but with Oliver Moore's elite speed. That's about where you are. Or Connor McDavid.
Like Alexander Barkov with Bedard's hands.
Right. I mean, he was a one-of-a-kind hockey player that I hated but respected the hell out of. And as time's gone on, you get over that rivalry stuff and you could appreciate the player. My only question was, what the hell took the Detroit Red Wings so long to do this?
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know, because you would think
it should have been done about a decade ago.
Yeah, with Yzerman there, you would have thought they would have gotten this done a while ago. And he talked last night about how he felt that leaving Detroit was a mistake. So, I don't know if there was still animosity on one side or the other, and some hatchet needed to be buried for this to happen.
Maybe. But you would have thought that during all those lean rebuild years, with a half-full arena, they would have used that as an excuse to get an easy sellout.
Yeah. And, before last night, if you had asked me, before they announced they were retiring his number, actually, if you had asked me, okay, which Red Wings numbers are retired, I would have gone down the list of, Sid Abel, Alex Devecchio, Gordie Howe, Steve Yzerman, Lidstrom, and I just would have assumed Fedorov was on that list.
Right. Because that's an easy one to retire, because it's such a unique number, and no one's going to have the balls to ever wear that.
Oh, no.
And they wouldn't give it to anybody anyway. That's why the Hawks, it was such an easy decision for the Blackhawks to retire 81. No one's going to ask for 81 on the Blackhawks, and they're not going to give it to anybody.
Right.
And they've shown discretion with that, because when they brought in Corey Perry a couple of years ago, they weren't going to give him number 10. That's why he wore number 94. They're like, yeah. And in hindsight, that was a really good move. You can't tarnish that number with that butt wag.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't terribly excited about Seth Jones getting 4, and Stan Bowman's logic. He said, "Look, we just signed this guy for 8 years. He's going to be here a while. We're giving him 4."
Yeah, I didn't have too big of a problem with that, just because, I'm as big a Nicholas Jarmelson guy as the next, but you got to give some of those numbers. I'm more disappointed that guys are still allowed to wear number 28. That rubs me the wrong way far more than somebody wearing number 4.
Yeah, and
to me, as much as I love Jarmelson, 4 will always be Keith Carney.
Well, for me, it's Blackhawks legend Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr, yeah. But the strikingly handsome Keith Carney will always be number 4.
Yeah, I would love to see Blackhawks ownership get into a push for Larmer for the Hall of Fame. Because a team can do that. A team can just really ramp it up and go to the voters and say, look, Steve Larmer did everything you could ask a hockey player to do. He was excellent. Another guy, excellent both ends of the ice, over 400 goals. And,
Never missed a game.
Never missed a game until William Wadsworth Wirtz and Robert Pulford.
Right. Until it was time to pay him. Then he missed a game.
Yeah. But, and my argument has always been that if Steve Larmer put up his exact same career numbers in Toronto, he would have been in the Hall of Fame 15 years ago.
Agreed. I don't get it because there's not like.
It's not like people hate him.
Right. He wasn't a dick to anybody. He's well respected, well liked. I know he doesn't have the world's most exciting personality and was nicknamed Gramps at age 20 for a reason, but that's not a reason to keep a guy off. People didn't hate him. He was a great player. He's going to get some flowers this spring because he got elected to the Blackhawks Hall of Fame. So maybe that's the thing that starts that ball.
Yeah, but even the Hall of Fame they just don't have their shit together. Look how long it took for Mulgilney to get in.
Yeah.
And he should have been first ballot.
Yeah. And it seems like they're on a goalie kick that they finally going to start getting some of these great goalies from the 80s and 90s in. So, but that's always baffled me why 28 isn't, retired and why Steve Larmer isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Well, the thing with 28 being retired by the Hawks is the bar has been raised. At this point, if you got like the retired Chelios is 7, and I still think at some point they're going to have another 7 go up for Seabrook.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Yeah. Well, they released their criteria when they and Larmer fits that criteria. He qualifies. He checks all those boxes. I mean,
but for me, the whole thing is cup winners. Cup winners go up.
Yeah. Well, Larmer's got a cup. Not in Chicago, but he's got.
I was gonna say you could put it up in Madison Square Garden. He was part of that New York Oil Hawks team.
Yeah. We've never mentioned those guys on this show before.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've rattled off all the Blackhawks that were on that team. But yeah, I mean, like they haven't retired 27 either.
Right. And we kind of thought that was coming last year when Lucas Reichel changed his number to 73. We're kind of go,
yeah,
Roenick got in the Hall of Fame. Maybe they retired. That's another number that, they didn't give any rest period to at all.
No.
They literally gave it the following season to Ty Jones, the guy they drafted with one of the draft picks they got for Jeremy Roenick, and the guy was a complete bum.
Yeah, but I mean, Jeremy Roenick, again, that was kind of the relationship between Jeremy Roenick and the Blackhawks had completely soured.
Oh, again, yeah, for the same reason that the Steve Larmer one soured.
Yeah.
The same factors were at play there.
So, but yeah, they would have retired Keith this year, except they're doing the centennial. So they'll do Keith next year. In fact, you might even see they might just do a night for Keith and Seabrook.
That makes sense. I don't know if they want to. Why wouldn't they?
I don't know if they want to take away from one guy.
That and, why would you put 2 guaranteed sellout high demand tickets into one night? Put that out over 2 nights and have double the fanfare and gate.
The Hawks are getting better. I don't think attendance is really a concern at this point.
Yeah, but you could always charge more money for those tickets. That could be
That's true. Tiered pricing,
premium
and
game.
Also, one of the other things too is you can sell a sponsorship for a bobblehead.
Yeah,
or the bobblehead or the commemorative banner.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at the one Chelios hanging in my office right there with the United Airlines logo underneath it.
Yep.
So yeah, there's money to be made by doing 2 nights instead of 1.
Yeah, I think the only time I ever got banners from any of those types of things. I gave them away at Ghana Drinkins because I was like, well, this is cool. What am I going to do with it?
I still have a bunch. I have the Chelios and Hosa ones, and I have the Magnuson Palat ones because I was a season ticket holder when they did that dual night.
Yeah.
And then I have a Dennis Savard one that's autographed by Savvy. So I love stuff like that. I've been appreciative. Like the Blackhawks have been giving the media members all the bobbleheads this year.
Oh, that's nice.
They've never done in the past. I love it because I have a huge collection of bobbleheads. So I was stoked to get the Chris Chelios in the black jersey bobblehead, and so that's been a nice treat this year.
Have you ever been to the Bobblehead Museum in Milwaukee?
I have not. I've driven past it and said, hey, I would like to go there one day. I want to go there, and I want to go to the Mascot Hall of Fame in Whiting, Indiana.
Okay.
Maybe next year if we go to Pierogi Fest, we'll hit the museum on the way home.
There you go. I know at Lone Depot Park, which is where the Miami Marlins play, they have this gigantic display of bobbleheads. They've got like a little Marlins museum in there with the 2 World Series trophies and like a Jeff Conine jersey, and I don't remember what else. But anyway,
Kevin Brown jersey.
Yeah. But here's my other question. Going back to the Olympic break, now, is there going to be a freeze on rosters, or are the Hawks going to be able to, or the Hawks can't like send Lardis down to Rockford or anything like that?
I think they can as long as they do it ahead of the freeze.
Okay.
Like I believe the player. I'm sure multiple teams will be able to send some younger guys down to the AHL so they can keep playing. But you just can't make any trades or anything like that during the Olympic break. But I would assume like the day before the break, you'll probably see a bunch of guys around the league go down to the AHL to see what happens. So because I think the trade deadline is like 9 days after the Olympic break is over. So we'll see what happens with the Hawks. Frank Saravalli, the Kyle Davidson's burner account, was on the CHSN.
Frank from Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, I just gave the Hawks a ton of credit for the bobbleheads, which I love and enjoy and appreciate. But I got a little, and I wasn't the only one, little miffed in the press box last night that like I had heard the rumblings about Bedard. I had heard Louis DeBrusque and Bob Stauffer talking about it up in the press box about 20 minutes before warmups. But I was like, I'm not gonna run. Like they were talking that they'd heard he might not play. They didn't say he wasn't, so I'm not gonna run to social media with that. But a little myth that Saravalli was told about it, but there wasn't a text sent to the local beats to break it. There's a little rub some people the wrong way, but it is what it is. But Saravalli was on the CHSN pregame show and had some interesting tidbits. One was about the trade deadline, saying that Connor Murphy and Jason Dickinson are getting interest from other teams, which is not a surprise.
Yeah. Dickinson's the type of guy you want for the playoffs.
Yeah, if he can,
like I said, wins
face-offs,
plays in the defensive zone well. You need that guy.
No, he'd be a great fourth liner on any one of those teams.
Yeah, fourth liner / defensive zone face-off guy.
Yeah, imagine Jason Dickinson on the Colorado Avalanche. How much better he would make that team, even though they're already great. Or back to Dallas. Or listen, the Edmonton Oilers could use a Jason Dickinson.
Connor Murphy, I think, would be a nice fit in Florida because they've got a pretty banged up blue line.
Yeah, Edmonton can use a Connor Murphy too. They're playing Blackhawks legend Alec Regula 18 minutes a night.
Yeah,
I think they would. You'd have to be silly not to want to swap out Alec Regula for Connor Murphy come playoff time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get those guys. I still think with Murphy, they'll leave it up to him. I know he doesn't have a no trade clause, but I would think if Murphy says, "Hey, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm good. I want to just play it out," they'll honor that and say, "Okay, you've been a warrior for us.
Yeah.
You've been here forever. You've got a young family right now. We'll honor that." He may say, "I just want to wait to the summer to figure out what's next." So those are two guys, though. If you're going to trade them, you should probably do it sooner rather than later, because those are two guys that have had injury issues the last couple of years, and you don't want them to get hurt the night before the trade deadline, and then you got nothing.
Yep.
So,
because Frank from Chicago also mentioned our favorite young Swedish forward, yours and mine, Anton Frondell, and Swedish playoffs start in March.
Yeah,
and his team is what, 8th?
Yeah, if they make it, they're probably going to be out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
knock on wood. I prefer they didn't make it at all, but
yeah. So he can come over and get a good month of NHL time, and if the Hawks do send like Moore and Lardis and whoever else down to Rockford, and if they'll send everybody they can send down to Rockford for the Olympic break, help Rockford get a better seeding for the playoffs, so that way a guy like Frondell can come over and be a black ace.
For sure.
I mean, I don't know if he'd be a black ace. They might actually skate him. He's that good.
I don't see why not. Yeah. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him. Looking at the SHL standings, Djurgårdens is 8th, so they get that final spot, but they're only 2 points ahead of the 9th place team, 3 points ahead of 10th, and then you have 2 teams 5 points behind. So it's no guarantee they're going to make it, but I would imagine, they make it in as the 8th seed, they're going to take on Frölunda, who's lost 6 times all season.
I was going to say Frölunda's a wagon, so they'll just get smoked.
Yeah, they're 24-6-4 on the season right now. That's good.
Yeah,
80 points in 34 games is pretty good. So, but Frank Saravalli said, without a doubt, Frondell will be here at the end of the year as long as his team doesn't go on a miraculous deep playoff run. So we should see him here at some point this season, which would be great. Because he also mentioned that like any trade deadline acquisitions will be internally. So that means trading out some veterans and then replacing them with some of their own prospects.
Yeah. And, the other one too is, technically Kancerov's contract doesn't run out until the end of the KHL fiscal year, but depending on how Medlerg does in the playoffs, he might come up a little early too. He might come over here and they can burn a year.
Yeah, I envision his team making a much deeper run.
Yeah.
To where there may not be enough time to where they say it's just not worth it. And
right.
So I'm more excited for the because they're in first place in their conference. Medlerg. Actually, they're in first place in the entire league. They have the most points. They have 70 points. The next closest team has 61. So
a big reason for that is Roman Kinsero.
Absolutely. I mean, he's having the best season in the KHL for a player under 23 since Kirill Kaprizov. The last time I checked, that guy's pretty good. So exciting times for sure.
But there's got to be some other guys that are going to come in, and they'll be black aces. A guy like AJ Spellacy, when his season's over, he'll come over and he'll come So he'll go to Rockford and be a Black Ace. Marek Van Acker. These are guys who will all get a little pro exposure before they start spending their summer just getting ready for Hawks camp.
Did Van Acker did he actually play in any of those Ice Hawks games at the end of the year?
I
don't think he played.
One?
I don't remember. But Brantford is
Brantford's a wagon too.
Yeah, they are second in the overall standings in the OHL. The Flint Firebirds have 62 points. They have 61. And AJ Spellecy's team, the Windsor Spitfires, right? He's still on the Spitfires, or is he Spirit? He's Spitfires, right?
Oh, Spellacy is Spitfires.
Yeah. They've got 59 points, so they're going to be a playoff team too. So who knows how long those guys go. But I am looking forward to seeing all those guys here next year. The Tom Curvers Classic, which will be in the new USG Arena at the new soon-to-be rebranded Blackhawks Ice Center. That arena is really cool. Got to get a little look at it last week. It's going to be a really cool facility for the Chicago.
Yeah, I saw some video from the inside. It looks really nice.
Yeah, very cool. Very 2,000 seats, plus they have some like standing room patio areas. So I think they said they could fit up to 2,500 people in there for a game. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see what happens there. And I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit there. Okay. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, we both kind of fritzed there. I said it might be a nice place to put a PWHL team.
Might be a little small. Might be a little too small. I think they're looking for something bigger.
They might get Allstate.
That might be too big.
But in Chicago, those are your options.
Well, you could go out to Hoffman Estates. The Now Arena would be a good place for for one of those teams.
What was the name of the ECHL team they tried?
The Chicago Express.
Oh yeah, and the ice was terrible and just didn't work.
The legendary Chicago Express. The 1 year they played out there. The first time I ever went to that arena was for an ECHL game. Easy for me to say. Check out the Chicago Express. It was like a $2 beer night, and the game was delayed like 2 hours because the ice wasn't melting or wasn't freezing, which is a problem. So we sat there for 2 hours drinking $2 beers, and they never played the game, and they lost.
Yeah, I think there was like a patch of concrete that was coming through, right?
Something. It was a disaster, but they lost their ass because they had about 700 people sitting there for 2 hours drinking $2 beers.
Oh yeah,
and it was a fun drive home that night.
Things we used to do.
Things I did when I was stupid. Yes. I don't recommend it to anybody.
Yeah. And I've been absolutely enjoying my my beloved PD Ice Cats from the Federal Prospect Hockey League. Go Ice Cats.
Did you get the jersey yet?
I have not. I'm too goddamn cheap to spend $100 on a PD Ice Hog sweater.
But you'd be the only guy to have one.
Oh, please. If I wore that to the game, they'd probably throw me some skates and a stick.
Probably. At least go out there and fight somebody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fighting is like cleaning the garage. I don't like doing it, but I am pretty good at it. It's been a while, but yeah. Is there anything else to cover?
Saravalli had one other thing during his appearance. He was talking about Arvid Soderblom and how he might need to get it in gear soon after the Drew Comezzo shutout. He might need to figure it out. I know he's got another year on his contract, but that's not a issue. as he said, as Sir Raleigh specifically mentioned, he's got 100 games under his NHL career now, and his save percentage is still sub 900, which is not great. And at some point, Comesso's got to get a shot to play in the NHL. There's only so much he could do in the AHL. This is his second full year. You know, and we saw what he's capable of against Nashville. So maybe that's something that you look at towards the end of the season. Maybe Comesso gets an extended run, gets a couple more games before the end of the year, going into the off season to help him make that decision.
And then you give Berezhnoi the net in Rockford, and next man up. There's definitely goaltenders in the system, and there's another draft coming up.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell Weeks can handle AHL duty. They started Owen Flores because all of a sudden over the weekend the Ice Hogs had no goalies.
Yeah,
the trickle down effect. So Owen Flores came up from the ECHL, the Indy Fuel, made his AHL debut over the weekend and played pretty well. Lost to the Wolves, but still made, I think, 32 saves.
Yeah, well, hopefully the trickling is over, so we'll have full, healthy goaltending cores at each level. I mean, Spencer Knight played last night. He did good. I mean, the Oilers got 2 empty netters there at the end. So the 4-1 game, it was a 4-1 game, but it was a 4-1 game, considering the Hawks.
I don't blame Knight for any of those goals.
No. They were tough.
The first one, Zach Hyman got allowed to stand at the side of the net. He's going to score every single time that you allow that to happen. Alex Vlasic needs to get a little meaner in those situations.
Yeah.
Even Jeff Blashill said it a couple weeks ago. It's like, I wouldn't mind if he takes a cross-checking penalty every once in a while. That's one of those moments where you just put your stick in his ribs and move him. Yeah. And even if you don't move him, he'll think twice about doing it next time because his ribs still hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second Oilers goal was just a weird goal. It was banked off the back of his pad. And then the last one was, it didn't matter at that point, but that was a play that Wyatt Kaiser doesn't make very often. He better not make again. But yeah, Spencer Knight was pretty good last night against the Oilers for sure. He looked rejuvenated after puking his guts out for a couple of days.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is just because these guys were out there skating doesn't mean they were all at 100%.
There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I mean, I've noticed the last couple of days that the locker room after morning skate was not as many guys as there usually is. Guys probably not even dealing with it. Louis Crebier said he'd lost 8 pounds in 48 hours. That's crazy. And then you got to go out and play hockey after that. That's tough. You'd almost rather have them dealing with like a respiratory thing because you can get over that. I think you can play a little better with that than, being weak from a stomach bug.
Yeah. Yeah, because it takes a few days after that, because even you could take all the Pedialyte in the world and still, your body's taking a beat. Your body needs nutrients, and they're just not there.
Yeah, tough situation. Hopefully, there was no practice today. I would imagine they didn't even do video. They probably just said, everybody stay home. Let's get 24 hours away from each other.
Yeah.
They'll be back on the ice tomorrow, Wednesday, where we'll hopefully get an update about Teuvo Teravainen, who left last night's game. Didn't come out after the first period. Of course, we were all thinking, he must have got sick too. He must have started puking. But Jeff Blashill confirmed that it was a upper body injury. So hopefully we'll get an update on that, because Teuvo's played real well with the two kids, Lardis and Moore. So I don't know. Maybe that's your excuse. If Teuvo can't go, maybe that's your excuse to put Bedard back on that line. Let's have some fun. Let's get weird. And I want to talk before we wrap up again about last night's game about Artie Levshinov. He had another really good game.
Oh man, what do you have, like a 5.5 minute shift?
5 minutes 33 seconds, the
That's
longest in the
insane.
NHL, and that was after he had a 2 minute and 15-second shift in the first period.
Yeah.
He played 24 minutes, and a third of his minutes were on 2 shifts.
Yeah, he's a horse.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I
he's everything.
appreciated his physical game last night. He had a
Yeah.
career high 6 hits. Put Matthew Savoy on his butt early in the game. There was a play late in the first period where Evan Bouchard had the space to drive down the middle of the ice and in the high slot, and Levshunov came out of nowhere and put a shoulder in him and knocked him right down. And then he had that great scoring chance on that power play during that 5.5 minute shift. And Blashill talked about it afterwards. He wasn't like too upset about it because it was the second period, so it was the long change.
Yeah.
And he's in his position. He's the furthest away from the bench. He just didn't have a chance to get off. He said there was one chance he might have had to get off, but when you got Connor McDavid on the ice, you want to be sure you can get on and off. Otherwise, so he wasn't upset about it. But it was just kind of sitting there watching it. You're just like, oh my God, I'm out of breath and
watching him.
Just watching. And that was only 3 minutes into the shift.
Yeah. So Artem Lezhunov is absolutely justifying being a number 2 pick.
Yeah. Because
he's good.
We're starting to see it be more consistent. It's not just flashes of You're starting to see it every night, every shift, why they took him. You're starting to see fewer mistakes and more aggressiveness. He's playing more instinctual hockey than he was earlier in the year, and that's the big difference. Because a thinking hockey player is a slow hockey player.
Yeah. Yeah, the old saying, you think long, you think wrong.
Yep. As I know it's a different sport, but as Crash Davis once said, don't think, it will only hurt the ball club.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, we, being the professionals we are, we didn't have an outline today, so I think we covered everything. If we didn't,
it seems like it.
Well, considering we had no outline, all of this is bonus material.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have to get into interpretive dance or anything.
No, that's off season. That's summertime, and you're the dancing expert around here, so that's your department. You've got the poo jokes and the dance covered.
That's right. Yeah, if they get any Blackhawks on Dancing with the Stars, I'm there for you. Actually, twice there've been Blackhawks that have done Dancing with Chicago celebrities. So
was one of those did Sharp do that one time?
No, it was neither. First time was Reed Simpson. Second time was Brent Sopel. And my wife danced with Brent Sopel after the competition.
Nice. And she still came home with you afterwards, huh?
She did. Yeah, poor Brent had to sit there. I caught Brent talking to some. He actually was just kind of standing there, so I went over and introduced myself. And unfortunately, he had never heard of Hockey Night, so he wasn't aware that we were the ones responsible for all the Sopeldong jokes. But we talked for about a good 10-15 minutes just on shot blocking and penalty killing. And it was great because, he was so good at both. And like asking him about his mindset, like, how do you get in the way of a Shea Weber slap shot? He's like, you're playing for this. You want to win the Stanley Cup. You get in front of you get in front of Shea. That's what you do.
Sometimes you're only in front of it because you don't have enough time to get out of the way.
Yeah,
it's not a choice.
But yeah, the Hawks didn't have a lot of defensemen out there doing flamingos either.
No.
Those guys were all willing to eat a puck to do what it took.
That's why they won. That's why they won 3 of them. They did all those things.
You need a full team of guys willing to do that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not 100% sure when we'll be able to talk again. Probably maybe about this time next week. The Blackhawks.
Yeah, I've got somebody coming in from out of town this weekend. So what are we doing? My wife and She and my wife are going to Epic Universe one day. We're going to Disney one day. It's manatee season, so we'll be doing that one day. You don't hunt manatees. It's just the air. Pardon me. The air is cold, and there's a warm water spring. So because of those two factors, there's this park called Blue Spring State Park, about 40 minutes from us, and every day on social media they post a manatee count, and there'll be like 300 manatees in this
Wow,
little body of water, just like manatees everywhere.
that's awesome.
So you go and just watch the manatees swim around.
Well, hopefully there'll be no manatees on the ice at the United Center the rest of this week.
JJ Frankie JJ.
They've got the Calgary Flames are in town Thursday night. That could be an interesting game. There was some bad blood the last time these two teams met. That was the game where all 10 players at the end of the game got misconducts.
Yep.
And then the Saturday will be the Boston Bruins original 6 matchup, and they're going to do their banner chapter night. That makes sense with the Bruins in town. Rub it in a little bit more from 2013. They're supposed to have a bunch of special guests there that night from those teams. It's Duncan Keith bobblehead night. And then there'll be another special guest on Monday night from the banner era as the Winnipeg Jets are in town, and some guy named Jonathan Toews will be playing his first game at the United Center wearing somebody else's uniform. That should be a special night.
It should be. I'm sure they've got it. I mean, they did. The thing that was nice is they were able to give him a tribute while he was wearing a Blackhawks uniform.
Right.
They didn't get to do that with Patrick Kane.
Right.
And they'll have a nice tribute video for him, and I'm sure they'll roll out the red carpet as much as they can for an opposing player. And the way Jonathan Toews is playing, I'm fairly certain at some point this summer he will sign a one-day contract and retire as a Chicago Blackhawk.
Certainly feels that way, but he does have goals in back-to-back games. He's heating up. He's got his game leg under him. Watch out. Here comes the hat trick on Monday.
Are they giving out construction helmets?
They should, just in case.
I've still got mine in the closet.
I still got mine. Mine's hanging up. I figured to save it because there's probably only about 14 or 15 of them left because most of them ended up on the ice that night.
Yeah. The one thing I've never been able to do is I've never been able to be me, Jonathan Toews, and the hard hat have never been in the same place at the same time because, I don't chase autographs, but I've that would be a cool one to have.
Yeah, that would be a fun one. That would be a fun one.
Just like the other one is I still have my unused tickets from Game 7 of the 2013 Stanley Cup Final. And I'd like to get, and that was back when you had physical tickets.
Right.
And I'd like to get one signed by Bickle and one signed by Boland.
Well, Bickle's still in Chicago a bunch. I wouldn't be surprised if he's at this Boston game. They would make sense to have both of them there.
Oh, yeah, especially
Saturday against the Bruins.
There's still a couple guys on the Bruins from that team, right?
No, I don't think so.
Wasn't Pasternak on that? No.
I don't know.
He came later.
Yeah, he came later. I think Marchand was the last guy that was on that team.
Okay.
And, I don't think so. I mean, you got to remember that's now 13 years ago. That's insane. That's insane. Crazy. Oh well.
Oh, we're old.
All right. Well, if you're liked and subscribed and all that fun stuff, you'll definitely get notified when we get back together, and we'll keep you guys updated. Hey, if you're on Facebook, join the Second Balcony Facebook group too. We're always posting hockey stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sorry we did absolutely no hog cranking this week.
Well, there wasn't. All the hogs worth cranking are all in Chicago right now. None of them are playing in Rockford right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm sure Gavin Hayes was ready to make his move too.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, the Ice Hogs need the junior seasons to end so they could get some more
guys.
Yeah. Be interested to see what happens at the trade deadline if they make a couple of moves to get some more guys like you're another Rem Pitlick type of guy just to help that team out.
They could. I can see that.
Bring back Jerry Mayhew again.
There you go.
What's Brandon Peary doing these days? All righty. Well, until the next time, we'll see you guys back up here in the second balcony as soon as we can.
All right, Al, play us out.